It's wild when you think about it. The exact same fan who's hugging strangers after a win could be smashing their TV or rioting in the streets after a loss. And here's the crazy part. It's not just about passion. Science shows our brains and bodies actually change depending on the result of a game. And what happens inside a fan's head during those 90 minutes? It's way wilder than you think. We have heard the ads say, "Football isn't just football." And they may be right. For millions, it's an identity, a source of pride, and when fans come together to share a goal, it can form a strong community. The badge on the shirt represents family history and even city politics, all rolled into one. That's why a single 90-minute match can flip the mood of an entire city, from pure festival to total funeral. But first, let's look at the highs. What crazy reactions have happened when a fan's team wins? For a real fan, the stress, the tension, all of it explodes into pure chaos. But the good kind. Strangers hug like they've known each other forever. People jump on cars, sing at the top of their lungs, and turn city streets into one massive block party. In Philadelphia, fans were climbing lampposts after a big playoff win. The city tried to stop them by covering the poles with grease, but fans just saw it as a new challenge and climbed anyway. In Argentina, Boca Juniors supporters once sang and waved flares for 2 straight days after a victory. 2 days. Who does that? Only football fans. Wins also make people bold. You'll see proposals in the stands, people promising to name their kids after goal scorers, even tattoos of a single match result, while the season is still going. Hard to tell if that is confidence or pure delusion. Some stories are unbelievable. Take Bayer Leverkusen in 2024. After years of being the nearly men of German football, they finally won their first ever Bundesliga title. The second the whistle blew, thousands of fans stormed the pitch. Red smoke, flares, players lifted on shoulders. The entire stadium turned into one giant party. They'd waited decades for that moment, and it felt like freedom. Then there's Paris in 2025. PSG lifted their first Champions League, and the celebrations exploded into riots across the city. Fire and fireworks raged on the Champs-Élysées. 2 people lost their lives, nearly 200 were injured, and hundreds of cars were burned. What started as a celebration quickly turned into utter chaos. Some places go even crazier. In Vietnam, they've made street storming into an art form. Motorbike parades, flag-waving chaos, dancing in the roads. After their national team's 2025 win, people took to the streets in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and even 91-year-olds joined the raucous night celebrations. So why does joy tip into destruction? Sociologists call it collective effervescence, a term coined by Emil Durkheim. It describes the electric energy people feel when they gather for a shared purpose. Individual concerns fade away, replaced by one overwhelming emotional current. It's the same force behind concerts, rallies, and even religious rituals. In football, it means thousands of people thinking and feeling the same thing at the same time, and acting on it together. That's why one fan climbing a lamppost suddenly becomes 100 fans climbing lampposts. It's why fireworks, flares, and even riots can break out after wins. In those moments, people aren't just individuals anymore. They're part of a single, roaring body. And here's the thing. In those moments, football doesn't feel like a game anymore. It feels like a religion. The chants sound like church choirs, the parades look like pilgrimages, and the players might as well be saints. For one night, none of the problems outside the stadium matter. It's joy in its purest form. But the higher the high, the harder the crash, which is why the losing side of the story can get even uglier. The same people who were singing and hugging a week ago suddenly look like they're at a funeral. Heads in hands, silence in the stands, tears streaming down faces. It's brutal, and it doesn't stop there. When fans lose, the anger has to go somewhere. The referee gets blamed, the manager gets blamed, the players get booed off the pitch, and sometimes the rage spills over into the streets. We've all seen those clips of televisions being kicked in, jerseys set on fire, and fans arguing with each other like sworn enemies. Ask any girlfriend of a die-hard fan. When his team loses, date night is done. Studies show losses drag moods down for hours, sometimes days, and it spills over into relationships. Couples argue more, weekends get ruined, and the frustration that starts on the pitch ends up in living rooms. But here's where it gets darker. In the UK, police have reported that when the England team loses, domestic violence cases rise by more than a third. It has pushed many people past the edge. And it's not just in England. All around the world, big losses have sparked riots, fights, and destruction. One of the most infamous examples came in 2018 when Argentina were knocked out of the World Cup by France. Buenos Aires, a city that lives and breathes football, erupted in chaos. Fires were started in the streets, buses were smashed, and riot police clashed with furious supporters. To outsiders, it looked insane, but to those fans, it felt like their world had just ended. The losses don't just break fans' hearts, it also sends them to hospitals too. Emergency rooms see more patients after losses, fights, accidents, even stress-related collapses. One study in Germany found heart attacks spiked during the 2006 World Cup, with risk doubling on days the national team played. That's how much strain fans put their bodies under. And the worst part? None of it changes the score. The team still lost. The fans still hurt. The only difference is that now, the whole city pays the price. But as bad as the lows are, they never stop people from coming back. Maybe because there's something even stronger than the pain of losing. And that's the need to belong. Supporters still show up in stadiums. They still sing the same chants. They still wear the same colors. Why? Take Manchester United, for example. Over the last decade, the club has been through one disappointing season after another. Managers have come and gone. Rivals have dominated, and trophies have dried up compared to the glory years. But the fans? Old Trafford is still packed. Week after week, tens of thousands turn up, sing the same songs, and hope for better. It doesn't matter how many times they get beaten. They keep showing up, because to them, supporting United isn't about the last result. It's about being part of a legacy. Psychologists explain this with something called BIRGING, basking in reflected glory. When a team wins, fans wear the jersey, flood social media, and say, "We won." It's a way of boosting self-esteem by attaching yourself to success. On the flip side, there's CORFING, cutting off reflected failure. That's when fans distance themselves after losses, saying they lost instead of we lost, or hiding the shirt until the next win. Both are part of social identity theory, the idea that our sense of self-worth is tied to the groups we belong to. And here's what makes football interesting. Even when corfing happens, the pullback is too strong. You can hide the shirt for a week, complain about the manager, even swear you'll never watch again, but you always do. Football is a community, and feeling like you belong to something bigger than yourself. That's why fans keep coming back. No matter how many heartbreaks, no matter how many losses, football has woven itself into a way of life, a culture. The rituals before kickoff, the songs that echo long after the final whistle. These aren't just habits, they're traditions that give people a sense of community. For 90 minutes, football makes people feel part of something bigger. The highs make you feel invincible. The lows remind you you're not alone. And no matter how painful the losses, there's always another game, another chance, another hope. Football fans are irrational, they're emotional. Sometimes they're chaotic. But that's exactly what makes the game magical. If you think what we've covered here is wild, wait until you watch our next video on the 10 wildest goals of all time. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you'll be the first to catch it.